Okay, so I've never really done a video like this, so I guess we're just gonna wing it and see how it goes. But hello there, and welcome back to the channel. This is Mel's Gaming, here with a little bit of a different video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my experiences playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 as someone who's never played a Call of Duty game before. Now, you may be wondering how I actually ended up getting into Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and that's quite an interesting story. So this isn't normally the type of game that I'd actually be really interested in playing. I'm not normally a first-person shooter type of person, but I ended up having one of my friends streaming the campaign for Modern Warfare 2 on Discord to me, and I found that I was sat there playing another game whilst watching it, and I was getting completely hooked by the story that I would end up not being able to play the game I was trying to play because I was getting so involved in watching what was going on the screen that he was streaming to that I was just, not able to play the game that I was actually trying to play. And I absolutely fell in love with the campaign. The story is so fantastic, it is so well written, the characters are fantastic, and I just absolutely loved it. And then not very long after streaming the campaign to me, he ended up streaming some of the multiplayer, and once again I'd be sat trying to play my own game and getting completely absorbed in the gameplay that I was seeing being streamed to me. And basically he said, why don't you just get this game yourself? It's not normally your type of thing, but if you're getting so consumed by just absolutely loving watching me playing this game, why don't you get it and play it for yourself? And that's basically how it all started. Because I fell in love with the campaign and then just loved watching the multiplayer, I ended up buying the game for myself. Now, like I said, I am not the type of person that normally plays first-person shooters. This is a completely new type of game to me, and coming into the world of Call of Duty as someone who has never played this kind of game before kind of felt like a little overwhelming. There was so much to try and learn. There's everything from little bits of etiquette from in the games to, learning about the actual weapons and trying to memorize all of the names for all of the different guns, which if you're like me can be quite a struggle. And just learning the game and the mechanics and everything about that as someone who's never played a game like this before. It's a really interesting thing. Now, I have to say, I have absolutely loved it. I have absolutely loved every second that I have been playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare, whether it has been the story and that fantastic campaign, or whether it has been in multiplayer either by myself or with my friends. It has just been so fantastic. And like I said, it can be quite overwhelming stepping into a game that is nothing like you've ever played before. And for me, as someone who tries to always do as best as I can in games, that was quite a challenge because I had to learn so much so quickly to try and, be at least even decent. Now, I do play on a controller, and that's something that is just a personal choice for me. I find controllers to be a lot easier for me to actually use. I don't use aim assist purely because I don't like it. I just don't like the aim assist. I find that I'm actually better without it. I just don't like it. I find like I end up fighting against it when I have actually taken a look at it. So I much prefer to not use the aim assist. And, sometimes that means that I'm a little bit of a disadvantage. But I still end up really loving the game. And I don't mind however many times I die during a match. It's really not important to me. I absolutely just love the game for what it is. And something that I was very aware of coming into the Call of Duty world as an outsider sort of looking in was that the community is known for being quite toxic, and the game and itself is known for having quite a toxic sort of surrounding. And that was something that initially really made me, cautious about wanting to get into the game itself. Because I'm not a toxic person, I don't like that kind of thing with games. I'm very chill, I'm very laid back. I like to do my own thing, try as best as I can, and have as much fun as possible. I'm not looking to be the absolute best and have the highest KD and all this and that and the other. That doesn't really interest me. I'm just here to have a good time. And so, seeing some of the toxic stuff and hearing some of those stories was kind of like an off-putting factor for me. I wasn't sure if I would actually enjoy the game knowing that was quite a big part of it. And the thing is, while I've been playing this game, I actually haven't encountered a whole ton of toxicity. And maybe that's because I have voice chat muted and just do my own thing and, you know, hope for the best. But it's actually been really not too bad. And that's something that I really was surprised by, because like I said, I'm coming into this game as somebody who's never played a game like this before. I had no idea of the mechanics. I had no idea what weapons I was going to like, and, you know, which weapons I wouldn't like, and what mods to use for weapons, and all of this. And so I'm not the best player. I really am not. But I was expecting maybe people would, laugh at me, and that's fair enough, because I am not the greatest player. But I haven't really encountered that, and that really surprises me. Now, like I said, I do try my absolute best. I'm not there to not try. I am running around trying to do as best as I possibly can, whether it's objective-based matches or just things like TDM. But like I said, just there hasn't been that element of toxicity, really. I've come across a couple of players who are a little bit toxic, but other than that, it's not been too bad. It really hasn't been too bad, and I find that that's an interesting thing coming from the outside into the world of Call of Duty, because like I said, it can be quite a daunting aspect if you're someone who doesn't like toxicness in games, and you're not trying to find that aspect. If you're looking to avoid that, that's one of the reasons why I avoided the games in general. And it's kind of a thing that, if you know about Call of Duty, you hear, oh, the community is so toxic, the community is so toxic. But it seems that if you just run around and do your own thing, it's really not too bad. I haven't got caught up in the whole competitiveness of it. I do enjoy the competitive aspect, and I find that fun, but I'm not there sitting really stressing over my KD or anything like that. In fact, one of the aspects that I really enjoy about the game is the camo grind. And with the camo grind, in a lot of cases, you can't really worry about things like your KD, because you're having to use weapons that you're really not always very comfortable with. You've got to use things like the riot shield and the knife, and, like weapons I wouldn't really use. But you're going to end up getting killed quite a lot as a result of that, and so you can't really be too stressed about those things. I'm naturally a collector. I like to collect things, so the camo grind for me is pretty perfect, and I absolutely love being able to use the different camos on my guns. I think they are so cool, and of course I really would eventually like to unlock Orion. Now that's something that's going to be quite challenging, but I am on my way there. I do currently have 11 platinum guns, well, 11 platinum weapons I should say. And I'm getting there slowly. I'm just working on leveling everything up and then slowly doing the challenges, and hopefully one day I will get there and get Orion. And it's such a cool looking camo, and I think the system that they have in place of doing different challenges to actually prove your mastery over different weapons, even if it's weapons that you don't personally like, I think that that's actually a really cool aspect and really well done. Now, I've seen a lot of negative attention around this game, people saying that it's not the best Call of Duty game and all this, that and the other, but again, I am coming into this as somebody who's never played any of the other games, so I am just taking a look at this game at face value as its own thing, basically. And to me, it's been really enjoyable and really well done. Now, of course, there are bugs and crashes and stuff like that, but with the games I normally play that aren't FPS shooters and stuff like that, it's not that bad in comparison to some of the other games I play. A lot of the other games I play have a lot more crashes than this. So that really wasn't a big problem to me. I've only had a couple of crashes with this game. It is unfortunate if you crash during the middle of a match, but I've crashed in much worse situations on other games, so it doesn't really faze me a whole lot. And something that I'm really enjoying about the game is the fact that it's more of a social game for me. A lot of my games, I tend to be sort of a single player grinder, just working through stuff in sort of my own little world. But with Call of Duty, so many of my friends are playing it that I find that there's a huge social aspect there for me to be able to play with my friends. And that's a really nice thing. Almost everyone I know is playing this game right now, and we all collectively have a lot of fun whilst playing it. There are undoubtedly some funny things that happen, whether it's getting killed in weird ways or running into an enemy and you not realising that you're enemies, so you kind of look each other up and down before you realise. There's just a myriad of interesting and funny things that can happen. And that social experience is, I think, a really nice factor of this game, for me at least. And like I said, there's a lot of people that aren't so keen on the game and say that, you know, previous Call of Duty games, etc. were better. But when you come into a game like this and you've never played any of the others, I can't compare it to any of the previous editions of Call of Duty. I'm just looking at exactly what I have in front of me, which at the end of the day is a very enjoyable game, whether it's in multiplayer or over in single player with the campaign. I also enjoy the co-op. The co-op is really fun. Anything where I get to play with my friends, I actually really enjoy quite a lot. And even playing just in a team where I'm solo but playing with a team, I like that aspect of working together to capture objectives and stuff. I think it's always really fun, and you can see little sort of dynamics happening in matches, and I really like that. I really do like that. And maybe I come to this with a very relaxed mindset. That is kind of how I play games. I'm not really intense, especially with games like this. I can't make myself be really intense. I don't mind if I get killed 30 times in a match. If I do, I do, you know, that's just what happens. It's a game at the end of the day. Nothing's happening to me in real life, so if I die in the game, I die in the game. Sure, sometimes it can be frustrating if it's against maybe someone who's a cheater, you know, using wall hacks or whatever, but honestly, it really just doesn't faze me 99% of the time. It's just part of the game, and I really don't mind it. So, overall, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 has been a really interesting experience for me as someone who, honestly, I don't branch out into a lot of different types of games. I normally stick to my sort of hunting games, outdoor games, very chill, normally single-player type games where you're not really running around shooting lots of things at a very high pace and it's not very intense or anything like that. So this is a complete shift in genre for me, personally. And like I said, I am not the best player. I am not the best player at all. Sometimes I'll have really good moments. I have had one time where I got 10 kills in a streak, and that to me was like, oh wow, I did a thing. You know, that for me was a highlight. Or, you know, getting my first Fury kill. That was really awesome. And a lot of the time, it's Death Simulator for me, especially if I'm using weapons that I'm really unfamiliar with. If I've just started leveling that weapon up, I will just die time and time and time again while I try and work out how to exactly use that weapon to the best of its capabilities. What kind of range am I looking at? What kind of play am I looking at? Am I needing to play more tactical, or am I needing to sort of rush into situations? That kind of thing. Yeah, I'm going to end up dying a lot while I work out, you know, how to best use a weapon. But to me, that's really not a problem. And honestly, sometimes I find the ways that I end up getting killed by other players quite funny. I can't find myself getting ragey about it or anything like that. I'm just too laid back for it. And sometimes, like I said, it can be frustrating if you know you're not doing very well, or if it's against a cheater, which I have of course encountered. There are unfortunately quite a few cheaters, but at the end of the day, it's a game and I'm not going to get too worked up about it. Overall, it's been a really interesting experience for me, and I really love the game. And I really do want to make more content on it, but this is my first sort of attempt at making a video on this game, and I thought that this might just be a little bit of a nice introduction to the game onto the channel, and just talking about my experiences with it a little bit. Because with things like the raids coming up, I would love to record that and actually post it. But again, it's working out what actually works for me, because maybe I'll post this and maybe I'll get a ton of people laughing at me for being not a very good player in the clips in the background. Maybe that'll happen. If it does, it does. But I needed to try and see exactly how it was going to go. This is just me exploring a new type of game and trying my best to absolutely enjoy every moment of it. And at the end of the day, that's what my channel is always going to be about, is me posting games that I'm playing, that I'm enjoying. That's how this channel works. If I'm playing something and enjoying it, I want to make content on it and share that experience. That's why I make these videos, is to share my experience and talk about it. And then maybe you see a video that I've made, maybe you've never played Call of Duty, and then you see this video and you think, oh, maybe I'll pick up Modern Warfare 2 now and give it a go and see what it's like. And then that, to me, you know, that's a good thing. And just sharing my experiences, I think, is for me such a benefit. It really adds to the experience for me, actually being able to share cool moments, funny moments, things like that. Moments where I've done something that I really want to share. I love that aspect of gaming, and that's why I ended up making this channel in the first place, was to just share those experiences. But, like I said, this is my first attempt at making a video on this game, and I thought that talking about my experiences actually playing a game in a completely new genre, of a game that, you know, like I said, it has quite a reputation for being a quite toxic game, I wanted to see exactly what it was like for myself and kind of just experiment with this and yeah, see where it goes and what it's actually going to be like, because I really would love to post some more content on this. So if you'd like to see some more content on this, please do let me know down in the comments. That would be really awesome to hear what you think and just get some feedback on that. But I hope that this video has maybe been interesting. If you are sat there thinking, gosh, I see all my friends playing this Call of Duty game, should I get it? My recommendation would be, if you're sat there thinking that, take a look at some videos, but maybe don't be worried too much about exactly what's being talked about. Just look at the gameplay itself, because the experience is going to be what you make it. If you want to be really intense, then you can make your experience really intense. You can focus on your KD, you can focus on trying to be constantly at the top of the leaderboard. Or you can be like me and take a more relaxed, laid-back approach of just playing the game to have fun experiences with friends. And honestly, that's what I'm saying, is if just look at the gameplay itself. Do you enjoy the gameplay and how it looks? Do you enjoy the guns, how they look, how they perform? Is there stuff like that you like? Is the game itself something you'd like? Don't worry about the reputation of the toxicity, all that. Don't worry about it, because what your experience with this game is going to be what you make it. That's what I have found. I have made it a chill, very fun game that I absolutely love playing, and I always end up having a great time and having some great laughs with my buddies whilst we play this. And if that's what you want, then you can definitely get that out of this game. You really don't have to participate in the really high intensity stuff or be worried about all of that. You can just play it at your own pace and just make it what you want it to be. You can make it a grinding game, you can just choose one weapon, level it up, and that be your weapon and not worry about the camos. You can do whatever you want with this game. As long as you enjoy the base mechanics and, you know, the gameplay itself, what it looks like, what it feels like, that's going to be, for me, I would say the most important thing if I was recommending this to someone. Just look at what the game looks like, what it feels like, see what you think of that, and then the experiences are going to be exactly what you make it. So don't worry too much about what you hear or whether you see, you know, really high competitive players posting kill streaks and stuff and all that. Don't worry about it. Just make the game what you want it to be, and then you'll have fun with it. But that's really what I wanted to talk about in this video, and get that point across of this game is what you make it. And you really can make this game a very, very enjoyable experience, even if you've never played a game like this before. It does have quite the learning curve, and if you're like me and playing on controller without aim assist and stuff, you might have a little bit of a rough time getting started. But once you get into it, you'll quickly become more and more used to how the mechanics work, how everything works, and then it will become very enjoyable. Like I said, it can be just a little bit, you know, difficult at the start, just while you find your feet, but once you're there, and then you can do whatever you want with the game, and I think that is really, really fantastic. But that is going to be it for this video. Like I said, a completely different style of video for me. I just went into this and just recorded all the audio, and then I'm going to put the clips in after. That's completely different to what I would normally do, so we'll have to see how this one goes. And like I said, if you would like to see some more content from me on this game, then please let me know down in the comments. And if you have any other feedback about your experiences with this game, I'd really love to hear it, because I think it's, like I said, this game is quite a social game, and hearing different people's experiences and interactions that they've had, I think it's really, really interesting. But like I said, that is going to be it from me, so thank you so much for watching and for all your support as always, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.